William, I got this stone back in the mail, number 337, and I honed a couple razors on it, and I was just curious. I'm going to send you an email how much lapping you did on the stone, or if you did any lapping at all, how many razors you honed on it, because I sort of felt like, just using it, that there's a dip in the middle, like it's been lapped flat around the edges, but it was sort of low in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a grit pattern here on the stone. And with a diamond plate, this will help me determine if there is one, and if so, where it is. Here's my diamond plate. It has a full diamond pattern. And so this is perfectly flat. This is a milled atomite plate. So I'll do a few passes and then we'll look at the stone. Okay, right away I want you to see that, and let me just rinse it off here. This is just clear water. Right away you can see that the pattern was worn, the pencil pattern was worn right on the edges here, especially at the corners and over in here at either end, and a little bit into the edges away from the corner. So this stone is definitely dished, meaning if you put a straight razor on it, the only part of the razor that's going to touch the stone is maybe along the toe and the heel, along the edges here, or up at the end, or over here, because it's just been dished so much that you're not getting normal regular contact in the area in the middle because it's dished. The pencil stones are remained because they're not being touched by the flatness of the stone. I mean of the diamond plate. So there's a void in the middle here. I'm going to use the diamond plate again and see how many more of those of the grid pattern we can remove. Okay, that was another 4 strokes, and you can see, let me rinse it off. You can see the stone's becoming flat at the ends, but in the middle it's still dished. Now, I'm not sure if this is the phenomenon that you were talking about, that you felt a change in the pattern of the stone's complexion when you were pulling a razor across it, but you may have been experiencing a certain amount of suction or lack of contact on the stone. If you're drawing a razor across here, and you mentioned a spot up in here, in this area of the top surface, if you're drawing a razor across here, and in this area the razor is not actually touching the stone, and then when you get up in here, there's a chance that that is where it's just beginning to touch the razor right there. I'm sure you can understand my principle here, and I can feel a drag right here in this part of the stone as I pull the razor across here. It feels different, and then right there also. And I can even hear it. Now, there is an alternate grip pattern in there, but it's mostly clay. And I'm sure you noticed that was that variegation area. So I'm going to lap this stone just one more time, and we'll try to get it down towards flat. Now that was 6 more strokes. Yeah, this is a worn out atoma, but you can see there's still some pencil marks there. And I can see the oval shape of where the atoma plate is actually beginning to hone down the outer edges to flat towards the middle where it's not flat. Now, when you're using a stone like this, you have to maintain the top if you are using straight razors with straight edges, you have to have a flat stone. If you're using straight razors with a smile or a frown, then you have an alternate or a irregular profile of your razor. And then your stone, if it's perfectly flat or rounded, it's going to affect the razor in a different way. Okay, when I run this across here, I feel a suction here. There's definitely a different feeling in the middle of the stone here because the razor is not actually touching anything. And then it is dragging up in here, which you mentioned, and I can feel the drag too. So I'm trying to determine what is creating that different feel, that dragging up in here. Okay, so I'm going to, as you can see, I don't think that you did any lapping of the stone, and that's why I'm curious how many razors you sharpened, because there's a lot of people would take a razor and just, use the middle of the stone, to go do all their sharpening. If you start to begin to use all the edges and the corners and the middle evenly, your stone will wear down evenly. But it's extremely difficult to do that, so most people lap their stones, between razor honings, or after you hone 2 or 3 razors, or if you're using a diamond plate to raise a slurry, you're lapping your stone all the time. And it always is flat because you're raising a slurry from the stone, and if your plate is flat, then you're promoting a flatness to the stone. Okay, so still I can see the grid marks there in the middle, and this is way more than I would lap my stone that I use on a regular basis. Between razors or after 2 or 3 razors, I would not have to go like 15 or 20 laps with a plate. So here's another 10. Here's 20. Here's 30. And you can see the slurry that I raise. That's quite a lot of slurry. And if we rinse this stone off, I can still see the pencil lines there. There's going across like that. We have a hatch pattern. Now, the pencil marks are all gone here. Let me take the razor to it. I am feeling a definite different grit particle complex here. And that's what you described. So I concur with you on that. I'm going to lap this stone perfectly flat now, and still I can see a very faint 2 pencil marks there. We're getting close. Also, maybe you can see there's an oval darkness here, whereas out here it's brightened up a little bit because it's fresh, maybe roughed up, like rough up the nap of a carpet where you walk on it. So if you've ever cleaned a carpet with a machine, it all looks really nice and even color when you're all done and it dries, and then when you start to walk on it, it mats down and it looks darker in that area. So here with the diamond plate, you can see almost a circle there where the slurry is laying low underneath the diamond plate, and I can just barely see the pencil marks, but I can see our oval is getting smaller now. It's shrinking because all the rest of the stone is getting lapped. Now, there's a possibility that I know I lapped the stone before I sent it to you because I beveled the edges and the corners and everything. So I'm just thinking that maybe you didn't lap the stone at all. And maybe for your use, just lapping it isn't really what you're looking for anyhow, because there is that feeling in that along that one corner of the stone that feels a little bit different than what you're used to. So okay, I'm getting really close. The circle is still dark, but it's very thin now. I can't really see the pencil marks anymore. And I know you've seen my videos and how I promote using a diamond plate to erase a slurry. Okay, so I'm getting to the point where it's just barely dark, but I'm going to run a razor over it, and I do feel that grit change there. And that's what you described that you didn't like, and I don't like it either, to tell you the truth. The stone is beautiful beyond that. If you use it from this direction, you don't feel it so much. It's sort of hard to explain, but... So, just to further the conversation here just a little bit, before I hone a razor from bevel set, I will go from the 1K stone to this Asagi. I would raise about this much slurry, and that's what I would begin my honing on, using this type of slurry composition. And then it's very aggressive. When you do this, you don't feel that area there that much, but I can still feel it. So I concur with you that there is a different kind of component there that's touching the blade. So we'll leave it at that.